people right now too.
All right.
So not easy.
All right. We're live. Anyway, good afternoon, folks. It's man all the way, George Page, aka the Emperor of WWE Talk. And we have here a special guest. This lady is an MMA fighter, as you know. She just made a debut a week ago on Invicta 45. She had to fight in a catchweight fight because of and she's been fighting for quite some time. This is one Miss Shamir Peshewa, if I got her name
Peshewa.
right. Peshewa. I want to be yeah.
Okay.
All right, I appreciate it. So, welcome, ma'am, and how's you and how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just took that fight on 4 day notice. It was actually like 3.5 day notice. It was on that Saturday night. And at first my had said yes. I thought it was like a regular Invicta card, which would have been on that Friday. So Invicta's moving to Wednesday. So I found that out too. And so we just went and made it happen.
Mm-hmm. Now that wasn't your regular weight class. When I was studying, you fight at 135, but you had to come in at kind of a catch weight because they're supposed to be at 145, and then they made it to a catch weight fight.
Her original opponent was at 145.
Mm-hmm.
So Courtney King was her original opponent, which we all know just faced Kayla Harrison last year. So her original opponent was 145. I was 165. So I told him I could get to like 150. I ended up making like 153. It was as far as I could get. My plane was delayed, all sorts of stuff. And we cut as much as we could. With that being said, I made it 153, and they obviously still took the fight because, I don't know many people who would have come anyway, like, and shown up at all. So
Yeah.
I showed up, and the fight, she ended up hitting me in the liver, and I tried to recover before the ref called it, and there was just nothing. It was just the ref called it, and that was it. But I feel really good, and I'm back to training and just doing everything that I need to do to make sure that the next fight I'll be more prepared. We had actually just moved our gym and all sorts of stuff, so it was kind of wild. But when they offered me a contract, there was no way I wasn't going. People ask, what would you do for your dream? And I would literally go and lose to a liver shot for mine. So,
yeah. Because I watched that fight. The liver shot, but then she got to push you down, and that kind of said, wait a minute.
When she started I was blocking the knees, and when she started to push down, I was like, well, if I can beat her to the ground, so that wrestler mentality, kind of like find the ground for first, and so I dove to try to get a leg. Honestly, I was going to try to get like a low single or something and just kind of regain my breath. I'd actually never been hit in an organ like that, so it was interesting. Most things happen in training, and that's just not something that had happened before. And I appreciate her for showing me that part of the experience. And you've seen it happen to people. I've seen it happen to people, but it really is kind of like just like somebody electrocuted you in the brain. And it was definitely a new experience for sure.
Yeah, I've been a boxing fan since I was a kid. I've seen fights where you hit like the liver. I remember there was a fight between Manny Pacquiao and a guy named Moraga, and he hit Moraga in the liver, and he just flattened out. I mean, people be working for headshots, but the body blows.
If you watch it, you can see her knee go straight in, and I just kind of folded over. And in my head, I was like, okay, I knew what happened because it's such a different feeling than like being hurt. It didn't really hurt. There was just nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately was like, okay, find the cage. And I tried to back up and block obviously what she was doing, and get to the cage. And then I was like, well, maybe if I could get a takedown. And he called it. And as soon as he called it, he's like, are you smiling at me? I was like, hell yeah, I'm smiling at you.
Because I remember you come to the ring, you were dancing, you kissed your fiance, like I said, you really don't see my dancing and be so smiley. Some girls come like looking like they're like like they were ready for business and like you're about to kill somebody, take somebody's head. Shout out to
the whole time I'm fighting, whether I'm winning or losing. It doesn't really matter to me. I want to be there. I love fighting. I haven't got to fight in a long time, and just I've dreamed of walking out in that church, in that venue, to that song for years. I mean, living in that moment after you've sat there and thought about the moment for so long, there's nothing that anyone could do to like make it any less awesome. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter outcome. It the moment itself was more rewarding to me than anything. Meeting Shannon Knapp, being like, "Hey, I'm an Invictus Sign fighter." Like that's no one can take that from me. Like no one. I don't care if you beat me. I'll stand up and smile at you while I shake your hand. Like it's just not. It's I don't know. There's nothing anyone could do to like make it bad in any way.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a shout out from my man James Henry. Hey everyone, hey James Henry, say hello to Shamir, and welcome her. And the thing is, like, I've been a fan of Victor for some time. I remember named Courtney King, we call her Hype Job Harrison, who lost it. Hype Job, and just for this, I mean, it happens quite often where fighters have to, you get an opportunity, and you got to take it. And I remember, I don't know, it was that same fight. Was it you or another fighter? They had to take a pay cut because they come in the weight.
I did get, I did have to give 25% of my purse for missing weight, even though it was on like a 3-day. Again, when I said yes to 150, I thought it was Friday. Mm-hmm. But I did have 2 sponsors step up, and I've had some donations since then to kind of make that up. I appreciate those people so much because you don't think about how much it costs to just eat when you're somewhere else, or just traveling in general. Even if you're like, I'm a very frugal person, but even if I can't bring my water on to the airport, I can't, there's a lot of things that you need snacks, because you have to be fueled. You're going to go fight someone, and like after you cut weight, you have to refuel. So getting Instacart was kind of interesting. Just trying to do all that with such short notice. Again, not complaining at all, because now I know what it's going to be like. So I think next time I will probably have like, I'll try to find somebody in Kansas City that does like personal shopping and get them to meet me at the hotel when I get there. That way I already have all the stuff that I need the day I arrive, and we'll have an actual training camp. We'll have an actual camp for the next one. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, I talk about this on my channel because I do a lot of content on women bodybuilding, and it's about the same. Because even though your sports are too different, you women, you work just as hard as the men. You don't get as much recognition as your male counterparts, and then also the cost. Like I talk to some ladies, like the cost of posing suits and your cost of training and traveling. That's a lot of money you got to spend in, and then you take a cut of your percentage because you didn't come away, even though you had to come take a fight like on a barely 3 or 4 days notice.
Yeah, we got there Monday at like 10 p.m., like 9:30, 10, and started cutting weight for Tuesday at 10 a.m. And luckily I had cut some weight Sunday too, but still 13 pounds is a lot of weight. And, the last bath, I didn't get hardly anything. And I knew I could keep you guys there till like 12, I could push the limit on like how long that you guys would let me weigh in. But at the end of the day, like, is that really how much more am I going to get out?
Mm-hmm. And you also, if anybody knows about you, you're a very healthy young woman. And that's the hard part about losing weight. Cause like the thing about women, women have a higher BMI than men. I think it's a lot easier for guys to cut weight because, our bodies are supposed to be made for certain things, like they're saying we were built for battle, breeding, and that's about it. That's the purpose of men. And for a woman, you got to come in. You weigh 165, walking around your walk around weight. Then you got to try to cut nearly 20 pounds, and then you just missed the mark because they didn't give you enough time. And then if you could have the time, it still would take you time to lose that extra 3 pounds.
And all the weight cutting processes that we have right now are pretty much geared for men. So they're not really designed for women's bodies. And I hope as the women that are going right now, there's so much more data coming out on how to cut weight as a female and how to perform better as a female. A lot of our standards, even for exercising, are made for men, which isn't a bad thing, but we do need to adjust those. We don't need to try to, I can't make my body cut or perform like a guy. So seeing, like, even recently Amanda Nunez is going to leave American Top Team and start her own gym. I wonder if that is because she has ways that she wants to do stuff for women that's different, So it's like I'm interested to see where she goes with her gym and watch. There's a lot of people in the industry right now that are female, and they're speaking up about weight cutting and speaking up about the performances and just the weight classes themselves. In female boxing, there's way more weight classes than there are in women's MMA. And I can make 135, but I'm going to need like 8 weeks. I can make 145 pretty easily. Usually it takes me about 2 weeks to make 145. I'm working with my nutritionist right now, getting my weight back down. My original plan before the Invicta was I've got a Grappling Industries tournament February 26th. And that was going to be kind of like my return to competition because I have not been competing. My last competition before that was November 2020. And then before that, it was June 2019. So definitely wasn't competing like I want to be competing to be at the top. I understand the work that goes into it. And some people watch me fight like 5 times in a year. I've done 10 grappling tournaments in a year before. And that's what I like, because then I know I'm ready to go. I know like what's happening with my body. I know how I feel. I know what it's like competing. So I'll get back to that this year. That was my whole goal for 2022. After getting the gym moved and getting everything settled there, and just kind of like returning to that competition, because I'm not done. I can't be done. I think about it. I lay in my bed at night and I think like, oh, I can be fighting right now. I'm not done at all. So definitely looking forward to competing February 26th, and then hopefully being able to fight again in April or May.
That's good. The thing is, like, I think like organizations like the UFC, Bellator, even Victor, they need to have, I would call cash, like a catch weight clause in every woman's fight, because women, like I said again, women have a higher body, more higher percentage of body fat compared to men, and that'd be a lot better for you physically.
Well, even if you had more weight classes, like in boxing, like it would be a lot better of a performance, I think, if both people weren't so tired because they just cut all this weight. It doesn't really make sense to me that we keep cutting weight like this. You can walk smaller, but then the other, like if I fight at 45, the other girl walks in at like 180. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. But why are we cutting that much weight? Why are we doing that to ourselves? If the goal is to have a better product, like a better performance, then why do a lot of things that are detrimental to those athletes performing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because also, I said again, in the sport I talk about is bodybuilding. We just had some deaths some time ago. We had a lady who was competing at a show and she died because she was dehydrated. Because I know there's one thing they mentioned, how certain drugs like what is it? Was it? Yeah.
Maybe your dog's out of here.
All right. She got to take care of her dogs, folks. But like certain drugs like Lasix or other drugs are used to push out water. It dehydrates the body. Then it attacks your organs and stuff like that, and it's not healthy.
No,
and,
I'm lucky my nutritionist will never suggest any of those. I don't use anything to cut weight besides Sweet Sweat, which is like a topical thing, and the baths that are pretty much Lockhart and Leith, and doing the burritos. I don't do any water. I can't do any of those because I don't know what it's going to affect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that should be But anyway, this big question is, what got you into MMA?
So, I got into MMA because I was playing. I've always wanted to fight. Growing up, I was always fighting. As a teenager, after moving here to Knoxville, I was in and out of juvenile. I'm not taking nobody's crap. I don't care if you beat me up. You're not talking to me in some disrespectful way. You're not going to disrespect somebody else in front of me. You're not bullying somebody else. You're not bullying me. So it was kind of rough as a teenager, and just getting those labels like, oh, she's violent. Oh, And I thought very negatively about myself for a long time, about how I felt about violence or how I felt about physical altercations. And I felt super negative about myself for a long time. And I started going to therapy, and someone was like, "You have nothing wrong with you. You just need to find a way as an outlet, because it's not like I'm going to hurt. I would never hurt someone who wasn't hurting me. I would never hurt an animal. I would never hurt anything like that. So it wasn't like that I had some negative aspect about me. It was that I didn't have any way to channel it. So I started playing roller derby, and I played roller derby for 7 years. During that 7 years, I had looked several times to play even kickboxing. Even I looked at like full contact karate. I didn't really like it. The kickboxing I went to was like a fitness kickboxing, and it wasn't what I was looking for. Finally, I found a gym who I stayed with for 7 years, and when I left that gym in November of 2019, I left and kind of started my own gym, because there's no hard feelings. It's a difference of visions. Some people have one way that they want to get to the top, and some people have other ideas. And I kind of have like my own thought process and own ideas about it. So I left and made my own gym. I had been training people for like 13 years, so I knew that I could do it on my own. And I'm trying to find more teams to, just go and travel with and work with as well. Just try to expand as much of my knowledge as possible, and just cross train and make sure that I stay ready that way. But with MMA, it's I don't think I'll ever lose the want or need to compete. I like the fact that you could beat me. I like the fact that it's going to be me versus me. It doesn't scare me. Obviously, smiling. People have reached out about my performance, and they're like, "Dude, people are like, call me a vibe." I don't know what that means, but I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of going in there and losing. I'm not afraid of going in there and winning. I've dealt with all of that. I went to sports psychology. I've had 11 fights, or 12 now, but it's not like it's a new thing to me. I've fought my whole life. So for me, it's not scary. It's just going in and like seeing like what you can do. Seeing like what happens. I think so many people don't take opportunities because they're afraid of the outcome. And that means you still have an ego. So if you're afraid of something, that it's not good. So you should definitely like seek some kind of like sports psychologist or therapy to get through those fears, and find a support system that's going to help you stay accountable to yourself. If not, I don't think that people will grab those opportunities. I wish there was more smokers or exhibitions for females, because people would still watch it. People would still watch if we had an exhibition on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, if people weren't as worried about their record, they would go and fight. Mm-hmm. How are we supposed to get any better? How is my performance or my experience supposed to get any better if I don't have any?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, like she's pulling out her Whoopi Goldberg from Color Purple. All my life I had to fight.
I've never seen that, but that's true.
Oh, you should watch. My mom, my sister should watch. It's a classic movie, and like one thing is I like to quote movies. It's just, and that reminds me, we talk about how that part when she went into Whoopi Goldberg in the cornfield saying like, "You told Harpo to beat me," and you have to. That's the thing is with women. That's why there's me, a couple other guys like my man CS Combat Sports, the coach, WWE Addict, my man Combo Breaker, No Filter MMA. We talk about you women because you don't get as much attention compared to your male counterparts. Right now, this weekend we have the Cyril Gahn versus Francis Ngannou fight coming up.
Yeah,
and there was some fights, a few women fights, but two got dropped because I think one opponent couldn't make because she got sick, and especially because of the I'd like to call it by his name. I'm killing. It's like Voldemort. Do not speak of his name. Name that you don't spoken of. And that's the thing is, during that time, what was it like for you? You're trying to train, you're moving. What was that? Was that like
It was pretty crazy just because I did not expect it at all. My manager's name is Jason Adams, and he runs Underdog MMA Management, and he has managed me since I was a amateur. He we had talked about fighting in like March or May, and he had literally called me like 10:30 at night and was like, "Hey, they'll give you a contract if you want to come, if you'll fill in, if you'll come on." And I'm like, let me see if I can get it all together, because it actually took 8 people for me to put in place to do what I do in 4 days. So I'm a very driven individual. I hustle all the time. People will tell me like, "Oh, well, you work too much or you do this too much," or but what I do for a living is my passion. So it doesn't seem like work to me. I do understand that people need time off and all these different things. For me, owning the gym and running my social media business is my dream.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it's not hard to go to work every day if you love what you're doing. When they called, I knew if I could get it scheduled, I knew if I could get everyone in place that I was taking it. And as soon as I talked to everybody, they were like, "Dude, you have to take it. Like, let's go." And I'm like, "All right." Nobody, your dream never asks you if you're ready. Your dream asks you, do you want it? And that's the difference between me and other people is I will take the opportunity, whether I might be like ready or not ready or whatever, because I'll figure it out when I get there. Obviously, I want to put on a better performance and show what I'm actually capable of. I had already won before I sat on the plane. You know what I mean? Like I had already won before I ever left my house, because I got my dream of fighting in Invicta. I got my dream of actually being a part of Invicta. It's really important for me to be a part of Invicta before I go anywhere else or do anything else, because it is all women. Our gym is a lot of women, and we have men too, but it tends to be a lot of women, and that's okay with me, because when I was younger, I couldn't really find a lot of women role models besides maybe Ripley from Alien. I wanted to be. So I can't tell you how many little girls draw pictures and send them to me, or like their moms reach out to me, because I'm actually I'm giving them someone to look up to. And I never thought about that in the beginning, but it just helps drive me and help even taking this fight on such short notice. If you are willing to be fearless in pursuit of your goals, you will get them. If you are only waiting on it to be like some perfect scenario where you feel the best and everything's in your favor, that's not how the universe works. So showing people that, I think, is just another step to like helping other people like get their goals and dreams, because they're going to realize like it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. So if you take your opportunities and act accordingly, like I stood up and told her what a good job she did, Ramona. I was like, "Hey, that was awesome, dude. Like that was a really good job. What do you want me to say? You want me to, it's not me to get up and be like, I'm not going to pitch a fit. I'm not going to like hate on you on the internet. I'm not going to do any of that stuff, because at the end of the day, it's her dream too. Mm-hmm. There's only 2 of us in there." Mm-hmm. So it meant a lot to me just to save the fight for her too, because I know she hasn't got to fight very much either. And she moved from Hong Kong. She's done all this stuff. Our journeys are similar in the ways of like just trying to make it for ourselves. And I have thought about moving and joining a bigger team or doing those kinds of things. It's just not time yet. I've got to get this gym to where it can like succeed on its own. And then maybe I do, or maybe I cross train longer term or something like that. But I know that if I keep working on it and keep reaching out to people and being myself, then those things will fall into place as well.
Mm-hmm. Shakespeare says best that when havoc's placed upon a man, he stand tall and hold his head high. That's how it is with you. And tell us more about your gym, because I know it's called My Marvel Fitness, and you got the idea from the MCU, or was it just
so? Marvel My Fitness is a inclusive gym here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I am Native American. We have other minorities that are instructors. We have LGBTQ people who are instructors as well. And that's not really a thing here in East Tennessee. So we kind of became kind of like Xavier's. We are the outcast. We are the underdogs. We are the people who fight for what we want, and we take care of our own. If there's a problem inside of our community, we handle it. If there's somebody sick, we handle it. We take care of each other, whether we all agree with each other or not. And I don't know a lot of places where that exists. It's myself, Ken Wilson, Shia Deaver, Jermel Strong, Dylan Taylor, Rebecca Alcorn, Betty Lee. She's going to school right now, but I will always include Betty Lee. She's our jiu-jitsu instructor. Whether she's going to school this semester or not, she's still always going to be our jiu-jitsu instructor. She does our beginner program. Right now, Rebecca's doing it. Dee Vincham, and we have 2 dance instructors who are absolutely amazing. And Catherine Slowburn, you can look her up. She has, if you like movement, if you're into strong women and you haven't looked up Catherine Slowburn, please do that. Please do. You'll love it. If you like bodybuilders, she looks like she looks like an Amazon. I mean, she's just absolutely amazing. And Emily, she teaches dance too, and she's doing a lot of really cool things with ballroom and not having gender roles, which I think are super important for people. Maybe I would have done ballroom if I could have led. You know what I mean? Like, or there's people out there who don't want to be confined to gender roles, and we respect those people and make sure that those people have a place that they feel safe to grow in. It's not easy to become healthier. It's not easy to be able to do wall burpees or fight a human or any of those things. And we find that it's a lot easier if the community is welcoming. So we welcome everyone. We don't have we have like bigger instructors, little instructors. Like, I don't believe size is an indicator of athleticism. If that was true, football guys wouldn't look like that. I'm like, have you ever seen a female softball player or a shot put?
I've seen those girls. Like, there's one lady who I follow, Gwen Berry. She is, not everybody is going to be a size 0 to 5.
Yes.
I'm from the South. I'm from North Carolina, and all women sometimes there's a little smaller women here, but most average women are a little bit more rounded. And the ideology is that most, like I would say the mainstream, they feel women like that are not considered attractive,
Mm-hmm.
And I like this. I like a woman with some hips, some little meat on the bone. Also, I'm a fan of female bodybuilders. I like their physiques because I respect their commitment and their passion for the sport. That's why I do a lot of content on these ladies, because they get a lot of grief, because the fact is, people tell them that, hey, you look like a man. You're trying to be like a man. No, you're not trying to be a man. You're trying to be in a sport where men dominated.
Yes.
But I respect their commitment and passion for that. That's why I do content about this. That's why I started doing content like women MMA, because the fact is, you women, just like those women, you work just as hard. You don't get as much respect, and you just feel like you try to find a balance of maintaining your femininity. You try to. I said this to a lady who's a friend of mine, Miss Brittany War Machine Neiman. I told her that you're trying to find a balance between being beauty and savage. And that's the thing is you're in a sport where it's violent, and you try to maintain your level. Like, women. I've seen women go blow to blows. Like, I know a lady who I did a while back, one Miss Frida Gibbs, who's a legend, who fought in MMA. Not MMA. She did kickboxing. She did boxing. She has been in martial arts, combat sports for years. And I gotta respect women like that. People like Christian Shields, and also, even though I'm not a fan of hers, Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko, people like Amanda Serrano.
Representation is important. Think about all the little girls and little boys and just people in general who might not have someone to look up to that looks like them. Like, it's really weird that we portray success as like one type of person. So we really try to fight that and combat that at our gym. And at least, like, even with my social media, I help them show who they are. I don't give you a plan based on what's worked for other people. I help you shine. I don't like try to make it to where like it's me. I'm like, no, what is it about you that people are going to want to connect with? Because it's really important that people have other people to look at. If I look in the world and the only thing that is successful is 50 to 60-year-old white guys, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's a problem. And that's just like one look. But it's like, if there needs to be people of all shapes, sizes, colors who are representing our universe, who are representing like success to people, younger people, because it's super important that they are able to see someone like them. And nobody's the same. So we got to make sure that we have more representation and that there's more people out there putting out content like this. We got to make sure that if the internet's going to exist, that we have to put out our content too, so that other people are finding it and realizing that they're not alone. We talk a lot about mental health at the gym. We encourage people to take care of themselves mentally, because a lot of the time that's where you're going to fail, is that mental health that we don't learn. We don't learn coping mechanisms in school. We don't learn how to we don't know how to learn how to process our feelings in school. We don't learn how to do any of those things. So you have a bunch of people who are stuck mentally in spots where they don't even know how to get out of. So hopefully, with mental health becoming less of a stigma, more and more people will talk about it, and more people will get the help that they need.
Yeah, that's the thing is, we went to school where what was coming from me going to school was like McDonald's, food, folks, and fun. And, it should be a little bit more education. Like, recently, a while ago, they're trying to fight back against the bringing in critical race theory, which is telling the story of what's really how America started. I can tell you this: my great grandfather was a slave, and my grandfather was sharecropper. My grandfather was sharecropper. I sharecropped. The people that built this country need to be recognized of who we did. How we did this. I mean, it's unfair that people. I think the problem is also with that one, because people fear that their own racism is going to be revealed if they're told the history. They want to, like, it was just not long ago. We just had Dr. King Day, and I'm seeing just saw the governor over in Virginia, talking about how critical race theory was like, trying not to get in schools. But dude, Dr. King fought for everybody to have the right to be recognized. Also, people like Malcolm X.
If we don't take our responsibility for the sins that came before us, or the trespasses that came before us, we will surely repeat them. And I can't be held responsible. You can't be held responsible for something that happened to your grandfather. But if we don't learn them and understand them, our grandchildren will do it again. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is. Like, history will repeat itself if we do not learn the correct history. There's so many things that are whitewashed, and so many things that are just not told correctly at all. And it bothers me a lot of the times. Columbus Day bothers me. I'm sorry. People
the man didn't find America. It was another dude. America, and Mariana Vespucci. He found America.
But I mean, we're still teaching it.
Yeah.
We're still teaching it.
And the only reason why Columbus get a day, because his name sounds very more generally like Christopher Columbus, instead of have it called Mariana Vespucci Day.
Yeah. Well, that's not very American.
No, it's not. But his name is America.
You know what I mean? So I understand, because I'm sure imagine if we went to school in another country. We might learn the same things biasly because it's a country. But if we're all going to admit this now, and we're all going to talk about it now, then we can move forward and not do it anymore. It doesn't matter if we've been doing it. What are we going to change in the future to not create that anymore? Like, we have to be able to take responsibility that we might be biased because of the things that we've been told. A lot of people don't want to admit their parents could be wrong. It's okay. Your parents are just people. They're probably wrong. It's all right. But it's hard for people to let go of that. And it's hard for people to not take it personally. Again, going back to people having an ego.
Maybe in your feelings.
Yeah, it's time to let go of those things. I see a global consciousness change. I do. I've been waiting on people to wake up and treat the earth nicer for a long time. I've been waiting to see people treat each other better for a long time. So I see it happening, and I see it. I see younger people being better. I see older people being better, because I think they're realizing, like, oh, we can change this if we take responsibility. If not, if we just sweep it under the rug, then that's what we get the next time too, because we didn't take any responsibility for it. We just kind of pretended it didn't happen because we didn't want to like offend someone's grandpa.
Yeah. Well, folks, if you listen to, we talk to Miss Shamir, who is an MMA fighter, better known as Hella Kitty. And, and she's a very intelligent young lady, and also I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it real quick. This is one of my favorite characters from, and she is beautiful. Yeah, I love Heath. Heath was just, he took that version of Joker. He ran. I grew up with the Cesar Romero and the Jack Nicholson version, but when I saw Heath, he just took it. Just I sometimes I do like, my father was drunk as a fiend.
He really, I think that was part of his demise. I think when you try to play a character that honestly twisted and that demented, you kind of get into a place mentally that you might not have been ready for, rest his soul for sure, because he was the Joker in that movie. I mean, like I love Jack Nicholson Joker. Michael Keaton is probably my favorite Batman.
Kristen Bale.
Who I was at that time. I'm 36. So I loved Batman. I thought that was the coolest thing. That's really the only DC that I watch is Batman, because like I'm more of a Marvel person, but Batman has always kind of like held a place in my heart because he's always trying to do the best he can by everybody.
What makes Batman so much a great, because even though he don't have powers like Superman and Wonder Woman, he's a human being and he's determined. Like him and Superman are like two sides of the same coin. Superman is this alien with all these powers, but he wants to be human. But Batman is this guy who wants to be more than human. And my favorite part was when that part when if you say like, Master Wayne, why do we fall? So you learn to pick ourselves up. And that would make Batman so great, because that's why I love Batman. I have posters in my room. I got a Batman clock. I mean, I think he's one of the greatest heroes. I don't call him a superhero. He's a hero. And
he's who we can. It's who we could actually try to be. When I was little, I was like, well, I'm going to grow up to be Cable. No.
Yeah. I want to be Wolverine.
Grow up to be like a big, huge, jacked up man with like that time travels. That wasn't going to be it. But I could maybe be Batman. What I mean? Like I could, yeah. But I could at least like take those things that I liked and like become them. Like I wanted to see those in the world. I remember The Hobbit is my favorite book. And when I was little, escapism was a really big deal to me. I grew up really poor. I didn't have anything, and I would escape into these worlds, and I would be a superhero, and I would be in The Hobbit, and I would, that was all I had a lot of the time, was just to like transform myself from being wherever I was physically into somewhere that I could escape and like not have to deal with what was going on. I was too little to deal with what was going on. Mm-hmm. And having that escapism, having those characters and seeing them get messed up and seeing them fail and seeing, they inspired me so much. That's why I know Disney one day will come for Marvel My Fitness. I'm sure that they will, but they're gonna have to fight me for it.
We gotta fight. We're gonna go to blows. Be like Rocky Balboa, him like the body blows. Part of crease, and you're Adrian. But like I said, yeah, because I was like that too. I love Star Trek, Star Wars. One of my favorite sci-fi shows. A lot of people don't hear about is Doctor Who. My favorite Doctor was Tom Baker, and then David Tennant. I ain't like anything like that, but we got here is David Milchandler. He's one of my subscribers. He says hi. Say hi, David. Hello to Miss Shamir. And one question is, you say you have a social media platform. Can you describe to everybody what's it about? What's you deal with? How long it's been around?
So we have the Marvel My Fitness Instagram. And a lot of people reach out through that, and it is just Marvel My Fitness LLC, and you can find that on Instagram or Facebook. I just, before I got on this call, finished setting up our Patreon. while I was at Invicta, there was a lot of people who reached out that they were looking for a gym like what I described. I really appreciate Invicta for putting out there that we have an inclusive gym that for minorities and LGBTQ people, a safe place for people, because a lot of people have reached out being like, I want to be a part of your gym. I'm not in Knoxville. So I've actually finished setting up our Patreon today. So that'll be starting soon. And you can find it if you type in Marvel My Fitness, you're only going to find me. I've had that name since before Disney bought Marvel. So we'll see how long I get to keep it for. But I think the more waves we make, that they'll probably take it.
Yeah,
I still think that if they do take it, we'll be the gifted school for youngsters.
yeah, that sounds cute. You gotta be careful with that. They got the X-Men now because they bought it from Fox, 20th Century Fox. So you gotta be careful with anything. And like I said, that's nice because you know what, having a place for a lot of people, especially minorities, people whose sexual orientation is not like everybody else's. If you find a place where you're more comfortable, where you can be people who have your like-minded people like yourself, it's a good thing. And we respect that. Now, one thing I'm gonna ask is how you get your name, Hello Kitty, because I remember back in the day there was a Hello Kitty, but you call yourself Hello Kitty.
So when I first started playing roller derby, you have to pick a name. And a lot of the girls had like nicknames because they all knew each other. And I had just shown up. I didn't even have any roller skates. I had actually gotten kicked out of a rugby. I was trying to play rugby, and I had tackled a girl and blew her knee out. So they were like, "You can't come back." So they, on the way out, one of the girls was like, "You should play roller derby." And I was like, "Okay, what's that?" And she was like, "It's where they hit each other as hard as they can." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's see what that is." So I taught myself how to skate, and I started playing roller derby. But I didn't want to be like Battle Ready Betty. I mean, like, what if I sucked? You know what I mean? Like, what if I wasn't good? So I was like, well, I can be Hello Kitty and put the Anarchy A over the O. So Hella is actually Hello Kitty with the Anarchy A over the O. But it became really cool because a lot of little kids. I didn't paint my face scary. I didn't try to. I'm not trying to scare people. Like I'm not. I will smile at you at weigh-ins. I will smile in the cage. Like I'm not here to like be like I'm gonna fight you and pretend to be like intimidating and stuff. It's really weird to me. So I started playing as Hella Kitty, and there would be little kids with like anarchies on their cheek. And like, I was like, yes, I go ahead and inspire a whole other generation of women to refuse any roles that they don't want put on themselves. So no one calls me Hella Kitty. People call me Hella for sure. Not as much anymore. I played roller derby until the first year I fought. And the first year I fought 5 times, and I played like 14 roller derby games. It was too many things. But when I tell you I love to compete, that's what I mean. I love competing. I would compete every month. I think that it's the only way you get better. You can drill in the gym as much as you want. You can spar. You can do as many things as you want. But unless you're like going and getting competition reps, you're not getting any better. For us, if you are an instructor at our gym, you have to have competed. I don't have people who don't compete. I have assistant trainers who don't, but I don't have any like coaches who haven't competed, because if you haven't lost on the biggest stage, if you haven't won on the biggest stage, you might still have an ego left, and you might teach the class in a way that we don't want it to be taught. Me and Jermel really make sure that people understand that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's never going to be, oh, every time you go out there, you're the best every time. Well, if you're the best every time, you're not going high enough in competition. If you're not getting beat, if you're not failing, you are not going high enough. You are not going in a position where you could lose or you could fail. And we think that failure molds people. I think that failure takes away your ability to have an ego. I think it makes it to where it's like a lot easier for you to compete once you get past that. So we really strive for everybody. We have our first competition. We're under Lucas Leffery for Jiu-Jitsu here in Knoxville. Laban Probst helps us with that program, and that's where Betty Lee came from. And he helps us a lot with our gi program, and has really been like a a huge supporter of us creating this gym and making sure that more women get into martial arts. And we're doing our first tournament under him on February 26th. So that's exciting. We have one girl, India, she's competing, and she's probably the only one who's going to compete right now. And that's okay. No one has to like be forced in a competition, but if you're ready, then let's go. Like let's go ahead and do it. So we're going to do that in February, and it's important that we keep that level of excellence in our gym. We don't care if you win or lose. We want to see how you go. We want to see what you perform like. Who cares? It's a grappling industry. It's a competition. It's at the end of the day, you're still you. And if you can't still be you, then there's a lot more problem there than just whatever technique you might have like not thought about doing, or maybe you ran out of counters, and that's okay too. It's all data to take back and become better.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's great. You are really representing what needs to be seen in sports like MMA and just sports in general, where we're getting people a place they can feel comfortable at. It's just the world is as it is. It's wild. There's people out there who might have their opinions of it, but you know what? That's your opinion. You can have your opinion. That's part of about living in America. Live in America. You can have your opinion. And you're a great person. I'm enjoying talking with you, folks. And you look at the comment section. There's her. You can find her links and stuff. Check out on IG, also Facebook, also other platforms. And this is my rule, guys. I keep telling you guys, no D pics. Be respectful. Don't. She has a man. Last thing he wants to do is see something on his girl's phone. You might want to wild out on somebody.
He likes you. He's.
So tell me about your boyfriend. How your fiance? How you meeting about himself too?
So we met in the gym. We were best friends for like 3 years. I worked out. I trained him, his brother, his mom, his sister, his dad. I trained the whole family, and we were all really good friends before ever dating. We were both in other relationships. I mean, it just wasn't what was going on. And after we were not in other relationships, he just kind of was like, "Hey, what about what about this?" And I was like, "You know what? This could be crazy enough to work. Like, I'm a very independent person. If I want to do it, I'm doing it, Mm-hmm. And he, instead of trying to be like, no, you're stupid, blah, 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 he's like, okay, well, where's our plan? Mm-hmm. And he's like, what are we going to do? And, like, even after the fight, he stepped up incredibly by like just stepping up and like going with me. Like he was like, I'm not a coach. And I'm like, it's okay. You're the best coach ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's all right. Let's go. Like it's cool that it's me and you. The girl, the lady who was like having us walk out, she's like, if you walk out, then I'll send your coach. And I was like, I want to walk out with him. Mm-hmm. It's important to me that this moment is together. Like this whole entire adventure was together. And he's been there for so many of the times where I've just cried. I've just been so beside myself because all I want to do is compete. All I want to do is fight. Just when you feel so passionately about something, it just bothers you when you don't get to do it. And over these past 2 years, building up the business and just all the things that have happened, he's really seen that. And it was cool to get this goal and like this thing with him by my side, and just have him step up. I mean, it was really cool to be like, we did what we wanted to. Our original game plan was kind of just to try to keep her away with jabs and teeps and just see what was going to happen in the fight, just see what was going to go on. But, you get a call on 3-day notice, 4-day notice, and you don't have a lot of time to do anything. There wasn't once where he was like, oh, well, this is this, or that he was like, all right, here's our plan. Here's what we're doing. And he had never flown before. He got on the plane. He was like, let's go. Like he was right there behind me. And we support each other like that. He streams. He plays video games for a living as well. And he's just an incredible person. And this past year, we did get engaged. We'll probably not get married this year, but just try to do some things financially. A lot of people rush into marriage when they could do a little bit smarter things financially if they kept their credits separate at first. So we're going to do some smart things financially and then go ahead and do that. But it'll probably happen somewhere random. I mean, we're not the kind of people who it's going to be some like ridiculous debt wedding. Like, we're just not like that. We could be somewhere random and decide to get married in some random place. It wouldn't even matter to us. We live together. We have 4 dogs together. So we just, yeah, that's who was barking earlier. But he's just an incredible person. If anybody likes video games, he's on Twitch. So you guys can watch him. I'll send the link out in my story on my Instagram too. But he goes by Mills, which his last name is Miller. So he goes by Mills with a Z. And you guys can check him out for sure. And he plays a lot of like, he's one of those people you're like, how are you doing that all on a keyboard? You're like, I don't even know how you're pressing that many buttons and shooting someone in the head and healing yourself somehow. And like he's really good at video games. So if you guys like that, and he does fight too. So he hasn't fought in the last couple of years just because of COVID and everything else. And moving, of course, we left that other gym. So moving gyms and things like that, just people don't realize all the things that you really need to do to be able to make fighting successful. And if you're not doing them, there's no point in trying to like go and do those things because you're not ready to or whatever else. But if he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But he is doing really well on Twitch right now. So if people want to watch him play video games, it's definitely good. And I appreciate that for sure. And we're definitely we're excited for the next adventure. And he brings just as much energy as I do, if not matching me, if not a little bit more, because he knows I'm always like up here. So most of the time people are like, hey, you need to come down here and like chill back out. But he's like, no, let's go up here. So it's nice to have that kind of support. And if you don't have that kind of support, I promise that there's someone out there who will not shun your crazy. They will run with it. So I definitely did not, I don't know. You don't think that those kind of people exist after so long. You think that everyone's going to be kind of the same and try to just water you down, but he definitely doesn't. And I appreciate him so much. Watching him step up was one of the coolest things for me, just to see him fill a role that he might not have been ready for or might not have wanted or anything. And instead of like complaining or anything else, he was like, yep, let's do this. So
he's like, take my hand, boss. We're going
he's like, let's go.
Like, and then you finally get married. Be like, there's another thing from Color Purple. Like, we say, I smell. Crazy. This is from my man, James Henry. Miss Kitty, you are pretty cool and keep up the great work. I mean, that's true. Yeah. James Henry, you got a fan with James Henry here. He's one of my subscribers, my follower on my channel. And it's just like I said, if it wasn't for the roller derby and MMA, everything kept you kind of, centered. What would you find yourself doing if you didn't find those paths?
I would, to be honest, I would probably be Dexter or in jail.
Now, you be like that dude because I love quote movies again. You be like that dude in life. You gonna eat your cornbread?
I very well could be.
Yeah, say like, here you go. You can have my. Now, also, what I found out was that you also part Native American. What is your family's tribe?
So we are Shawnee. So if you look at Shawnee Indians, the only one that people really know is Tecumseh. So if you even look at his pictures, he's got a much longer, wider face. They are paler Indians. They're from Canada and Wyoming. They're not from South America. They're from Canada and Wyoming. So they look different than even the Shawnees today look a lot different than people in, say, Navajo. So most people only think about Native Americans looking like Cherokee or Indian
or Cherokee or Comanche, something like that.
Yeah. They think about a specific look, and that is some types of Indians, but there's other Native Americans too. And my people, I could go to Canada and present myself and actually be a part of that tribe too if I wanted to. Most of our people are with a remnant band. Again, when you have people who try to control people, once you give some of the other people some control, then there becomes a division even against the Native Americans between them. So it's like, oh, well, you come from a remnant band where I'm a federally recognized tribe. So you have a lot of like internal racism as well that was created to keep people away from each other, created to create hate so that we would never be as one. It's even seen, you see it in other groups of people, you see it in other countries.
Yeah, we know right here because it goes back to what my people goes back to slave time, divide and conquer. It's an old Roman saying. They separate the house Negroes from the from the field Negroes. And you'd be
and then you're a house when you get to be a little bit special.
Yeah, like
and
I was watching.
Talk to the field ones.
Yeah, like I was listening to a while back. There was this guy who was a doctor. He had a book called "The Sword and the Shield." It was about Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King. How they both, after the death of Malcolm X, Dr. King came a little bit more militant, and he said a part where how he separate the house Negro from the field Negro. How the house Negro would say, like, if Master was sick, we's a sick, and that's the thing is and from where I live here in Robeson County, we have also a tribe they're called the Lumbee, and they're not as recognized as people would know them. They've been I think for years been trying to get recognition. I think it's two tribes here: Lumbee and Tuscarora. And and if I used to work at this gas station when I was younger. I used to work as a cashier, whatever. And this girl came to. We were in school ever since we were kids. And these white guys from out of town, and they say, "Who's that girl? Is she Puerto Rican or something?" No, she's Lumbee. And you'd be surprised. Like, some people still believe that Indians still live in teepees. Especially if you come like upstate like that. No, they live in a house or a trailer or something like that. They live like anybody else.
My family is from Carolina, so my dad would always say he grew up on the wrong side of the track with the field ones, right? So he would always say, like, that's how he grew up. And he grew up in Chimney Rock, which is a small place in Carolina, near Bat Cave. So you begin to kind of see these trends with minorities. Growing up, there was Black people, white people, German people, Scottish people. There was all sorts of people in our little tribe. It was really more, are you going to agree to live by the culture? A lot less like, are you going to be the color that you need to be? Native Americans really don't think that way. So I grew up with a lot of people who were just different outsiders again. And I think that that's kind of my purpose in life, is to continually fight for the people who might not think that they have a voice or might not think that they can fight. I think everyone can fight. So I try to keep that line open and make sure that people understand I have no hatred towards any white person. My fiance is white. I have no problem with any white people. I just also am not going to ignore the hundreds of years of oppression that's been put on females, minorities, Native Americans, Black people, Hispanic people. I'm never going to submit to that. I'm never going to be like, oh, well, I guess I just need to be quiet and go over here. No, it's never going to happen. I'm going to continually fight for those people and continually make sure that they have a place where they are safe, where they are going to be okay, because that's what we have to do in life. We have to take care of each other. So we can't be divided by house and field. So we can't be divided by people who don't matter, because we do. Everyone matters. Everyone deserves to have a life that they love. Everyone deserves to have a life where they don't punch a time clock just to exist. And hopefully, as more and more people put this content out and more people band together, we can kind of fight that as well. We don't have to take it anymore. We don't have to take it. The more of us that stand up and be like, actually, fuck you, we're not doing this. That's what we need. We all need to be together, regardless of the color of our skin. Because if you're poor out here, you're just the same. There's a class. The class system is what we fight now. The economic differences is what we fight now. Because if they can keep you poor, then you don't ever try to live for anything.
Yeah, and that's because that's it. Also, that we talk about this, like me and my friends who follow MMA, we talk about how in MMA, how y'all fighting next to just barely making enough as a career. And look at boxing. Like, I've been a boxing fan since I remember. Guy like Money Mayweather, he don't get out of bed no more than for nothing less for a $10 million. While even like the top MMA fighter doesn't even make much as a second tier boxer. And
because of the betting.
Mm-hmm.
It's all betting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're like I said, Dana White. Even though he's one of the biggest guys now, he's really he's no more better than an overseer or the guy who runs the presentation. He's not giving the fighters opportunities. Hey, when Conor went over, he fought Mayweather. He made a lot of money. You saw Tyron Woodley, he got put out to sleep. He probably made more money. Yeah, he made maybe more than when he was champion over UFC. There was 2 fights with Jake Paul. And I had an interview with a lady she's from Oklahoma. She was cut recently, Sarah Alpar, and she had got assistance from Jake Paul. And then next you know, after her last fight, she gets cut. And I'm like, why are you getting cut? Because this fight has been
the problem is they say that she's kind of like a brawler. Mm-hmm. I like Sarah Alpar. I think she's a brawler for sure. I think she puts on good shows. The problem is, how many times did she get to fight in the last 2 years?
Just 2, barely 2.
So you want me to fight on the largest stage with hardly any experience? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, and you throw somebody like Jesse Rose Clark, who's been fighting for a long time, where she should be fighting somebody who's coming up like she was.
I think that's another reason why. I mean, like everybody wants to at Dana White. Well, at Dana White, why not? Why not give us an exhibition? You're not going to lose any money. I guarantee you, me and a bunch of the other girls on Instagram can sell your product better than what's happening right now, and you're not going to lose any money by giving us a card. If you gave people exhibitions, they wouldn't be worried about their record. If me, Sarah, you could pick like 15 featherweights and have monthly tournaments to where we all fight each other. In a year from now, we're fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. In a year from now, everyone wants to watch us because we've got more experience. We have to stop shoving these fights. There's so many cards that go on that have no female fights. It's because nobody wants to lose to the other person. Who gives a crap? Who cares? If you don't get any more experience, you're going to lose your dream because you're not going to have a career. Mm-hmm. So fight and lose or win or don't. Like you don't get very many opportunities. And even with like local promotions and stuff, what am I going to make? $300 to show? $300 show up when my blood work cost me $150. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that could be changed in MMA if people would, and they would still make money. You're telling me a card of 16 women, 8 fights, isn't going to sell? I bet we sell it every time because we're going to actually do the promotional work. We're going to actually do the interviews. We're going to actually share it on our Instagram. We're going to make sure that everyone knows that we're all fighting. But if you give these women a platform like Invicta, where we could fight every month, you could, even if they don't want to mess with their records, that's fine. Don't mess with your record then. Make it a smoker. Make it an exhibition. People will still watch it. People are still going to watch it. We have to find a way to almost like reverse like the process. If we've all got here and then COVID, and then now we're kind of like in this limbo because we haven't gotten to fight very much, we need some kind of kickstart. We need some kind of promotion to let us like just have fights every month. Like I would do it at my gym. I wouldn't even care because you're going to have more people who are better performers. If we've all, like me and Haley Cowan, we're talking about training after this last fight. She fought my manages Monica Franco, and Monica's, my teammate, like through our manager, and they're both amazing ladies. What happens when we all get together and we start training all together? And then somebody's like, oh, well, will you fight Haley? Yeah, sure. We don't have to dislike each other. If we train together, then our fights would be better because we would like have a better performance against each other because we already know what each other likes to do. It would be a better fight because now, oh, well, I know you like this and I know you like this. And like, we're going to be able to actually like have a more competitive fight because we've got to train together. I don't really understand why And Haley agreed. Like, I don't understand why women don't train together. Like, who cares if you fight each other later? Like, are you only so one dimensional that you would only have like that one thing that you did in the gym? That doesn't seem right. You know, like if you're good, you'll know what someone does and they'll still do it to you.
Mhm.
So it's like if we're not at that point, if we have you have like probably 30 women right now who could fight every month, who would fight every month, but have such little opportunity to do so that they are choosy because they don't know when their next fight's going to be and they don't want to go on a loss for a year. It's the wrong mindset. We've
Mhm.
got to compete more. We've got to have more competitions for women. We have to have more training for women, like with each other. Like it doesn't make any sense. So hopefully that's what you'll see from me in this next little bit is going and cross training with these women and going to make sure that all these women that we're all keeping each other better. If I'm the worst person in the room, guess who's going to be the best person in the room in a month? We would all rise each other up. Every single person would be better if we pushed each other.
Mhm. Like the old saying, metal sharpens metal.
Yes, yeah.
And that's the thing is, we're not going to, like I say, this has been a great conversation, but we're not going to hold her too long, folks,
Thank
because I
you.
know she's a busy lady. She has this, that. She's all over the place. She's like everywhere. So, couple of questions, and then we'll be finished. Um, this is something. This is for my man, Coach Sheridan Harrison. He's a fan of MMA. He talks about MMA a lot. He's the guy who inspired me to start doing my content. He's just actually called himself the king of female body talk. But I said I go with the emperor because if you remember back in the day when the France got rid of the royals and Napoleon took over, he calls himself King Napoleon. He calls himself emperor. I think emperor is more prestigious. Now he also asks this question in some of his interviews. He said like, "How you get out of a Kimura?"
Well, if it's already in there, you better start grabbing your own shorts and trying to reverse the situation. If it's not already in there, I would hope to have already caught it. I like to use my knee. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty flexible though, so I like to like pull my knee up and pin whatever they're trying to do with my knee, or pin my own arm to the ground so they can't take it behind me. Um, and Kimuras are hard just because it's one of those things that are basic, but also you can pull from anywhere. You could pull it off of a person being trying to take down a single leg. You could pull it from the bottom. You could pull it from the top. You could really pull it from anywhere. I think if you leave a limb behind, you get what you get.
Okay. This is from my man Marcus Bell. He's part of my CS Combat Sports family. We have a channel called the WMMA. We call it the Lions Den WMMA community, where we dedicate to not just women in MMA, but also all sport of combat sports. I'll send you a link to you. Want to check it out. Salute to all the Rage George page coming through, smashing that like, and hello, Miss Kitty. Like Miss Kitty, like Miss Kitty from Gunsmoke, like
I
hey Miss
love good
Kitty.
stuff.
I watch it. I used to. I still watch it. Used to like my mom was around. Because my mom when she was sick, she couldn't move around a lot. Sometimes we watch Yo Western. She didn't like it every now and then, but she'll sit there and she'll watch it because that was the longest running Western. I mean, like I just watched it this afternoon when I was watching Gunsmoke because you know what I got to the point now that it's not much on TV anymore. You feel like that?
There's not there's not
No.
much on. I would watch Gunsmoke over most things.
Yeah, I tell you, I watch more old stuff because TV's. Like me and my mom used to watch Chop on Tuesdays. That was our favorite show to watch. I hate that guy Jeff Cincinnati. I hate him. Damn it. But anyway, before we go and let you go on and do what you get, do you have a shout you want to give to anybody? People who support you. You're also your sponsors, anybody like that.
I would like to thank my sponsors. I would like to thank the Knox Fox, Cotton Eye Joe, Eddie's Health Shop, PP to you. Yeah, it's actually that's where our gym is beside Cotton Eye Joe. Chuck Ward is the owner, and he's an amazing person. He's a house flipper who bought a bar, and he's kind of like a real life cowboy in a lot of ways. He's an awesome person. He always supports and sponsors, and that's where we were actually able to move our gym over beside his facility. So we were very thankful for him, and he always sponsors us. He's awesome. Like I said, the Knox Fox, Eddie's Health Shop, PT2U, Vivid Tattoo. A lot of my buddy Greg, he buys vintage toys. If you guys, no matter where you are in the United States, if you want somebody to pay you correctly and tell you what they're actually worth, whether they buy it or not, you guys can reach out to him on Vintage Toy Picker. He's pretty much on every platform, and he is an awesome person. He will actually treat you right, and he knows that they are your memories, and they have sentimental value to them. He does not treat them like they're just an object, and sometimes those things are hard, especially if you're like going through things that might not have belonged to you. They might have belonged to somebody that you loved. He will treat you right and make sure that those things go into the hands of other people who are going to love them and appreciate them. So that's Vintage Toy Picker. And then Rosie Brother, she runs Rosie Tattoos here in Knoxville too. Of course, I did say Vivid Tattoo, Eddie's Health Shop. He's my nutritionist. Eddie Raymond is amazing. He definitely helps me anytime I need to help, any help. And he is also inclusive and very friendly to anyone. So you can always have a safe place there at Eddie's Health Shop as well. Marvel My Fitness, of course, my gym. I could not do anything without the support there. Ken Wilson, Jamel, Caleb, really, those guys hold me down. Laban, thank you so much for working with me. I just started working with a boxing coach, so I'm excited for that. His name is Coach Faust. I'm super excited to work with him and appreciate him. I'd only had one time with him before we went to Invicta, so I'm excited to see what we can do in this next little bit coming up. My training partners, of course, I appreciate them all the time. Arthur, just people who come and work with me, who take time out of their own busy schedule to be like, yes, I'll do no-gi stuff with you for an hour on Monday mornings. I'll do boxing with you on Wednesday nights. I'll do, like those people mean so much to me. It really does. It takes a village, and I feel like we have the village that it's going to take to get us to the next level. And I appreciate everyone, of course, that is there and helps. I appreciate all my fans. I have a huge Reddit following, a huge Instagram following, and I'm so thankful for you guys. Every day I'm like, I'm so weird. Why do you follow me? But it's you're weird too, and we can be weird together. If you're looking for someone who will actually care about you, I'll respond to your messages. As long as they're not inappropriate, I will respond to your messages. If you want to talk about MMA or video games or comic books or anything like that, I appreciate you so much. And I love talking to my fans. I think it's cool that I even have fans. Like, I fight for people like that. I fight for people so that they can have a voice, so they can have someone that represents them. I'm a nerd. People will be like, how do you get the nerds? Because I am a nerd.
I'm a geek.
I love Reddit. I love video games. I love comics. If you guys want to connect, please do so. I love connecting with them. Even if you just send a heart emoji, that's fine with me. I'll heart it right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for having me on your show. It's been a blessing to be here, and I'm always thankful to put out more content that lets everyone know, hey, there's people out here who are fighting the good fight and fighting for people to have a spot in the world. And if you don't have a spot in the world, come with us and you can have a spot in the world.
This is a pleasure because this is a second fighter from the state of Tennessee I have had a chance to talk to. Much shout out to a lady who I did an interview with, Miss Mandy Polk. She also fights in MMA. Also, why I reach out to because she also dips in the sport of bodybuilding. She was a fitness competitor, and and it was just a pleasure because I really when I saw you, I saw this video stuff before, and I said, what, let me reach out to her because I think she might be, because I love genuine people like you. Genuine is like people like you and all these other ladies who follow my channel. I really like to give y'all a spotlight, opportunity to be seen and heard, because you don't get that opportunity as much. And some of the girls who I reached out to before, especially if they're like UFC, they hit that big time. If you're not like over, I would say 50,000 subs, then they're not gonna pay attention to you. But I'm just a little over 600. If
you go over 50 subs and you stop paying attention to people, you fucked up.
Oh yes, and like I said,
if you're big for people, you fucked up. And one day when you fall, there won't be anyone.
Yeah, and like we said, like Master Bruce said, why do we fall? We don't sit pick us up. But also I'll tell you like this, you don't need to think. To quote my favorite movie at the end when Batman Begins, when Bruce Wayne, when Batman talks to when Jim Gordon said to you, hey, I forgot to thank you, and he says to you, you never have to. So you don't owe me no thanks. It's a pleasure to do this. So, folks, again, check out Miss Shamir. Check out her channel, her content, everything else. Be a fan. Support women in MMA, support women in just in life. Love her. And also, my rule. I keep telling you sick freaks out there, no D pics.
No,
none. No one wants to see your tattywhacker. No one wants to see your little short shank. No one wants to see your.
And you want as strong as these women are in MMA and as strong as these bodybuilding women are. If they wanted one, they'd ask for it.
Yes. So anyway, we'd like to thank Ms. Shamir Peshewa. Peshewa. I gotta get it. I'm gonna get it. Peshewa. Yeah.
That was close.
That's close. Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, but we would like to thank her, Miss Hello Kitty. We'd like to thank Hello Kitty. We'd like to thank her for her time. Support her on the all her platforms. Reach out if you are somebody who's a nerd or geek. You need somebody you want to look up to. This lady should look up to. I think it's a wonderful lady. I reached out to her, I said again, and it was nice talking with her. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Say hello to your man. Tell him that support, be by your side. Stand with you, because you know what, everybody needs some more support they can get. Yes. So anyway, I like to thank everybody coming through. My man Marcus Bell, James Henry, David, Melcher. Support, subscribe, share, comment. Like I said again, this is somebody who needs as much. And also like this, if you are a big sponsor, if you look to put your name behind someone, like this is the lady shit. This is the lady shit right now. Thank you. Anyway, this is Mail Away Judge Page, aka the Emperor of WMA Talk. Like, subscribe, don't subscribe. I'm out. Peace and love, and whatever you got to do.